Green extremists do exist. I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.media. Another story out in the mainstream media today worrying about the government taking on environmental nut jobs and monitoring them using the RCMP and CSIS. Once again, this from the Toronto Red Star, pointing to a report about the rise of extremist groups who are against exploration of Canada's natural resources, specifically oil and gas. Now, since the advent of Bill C-51, there have been warnings that environmental groups are going to be targeted, and they're just all nice folks. And there's nothing to worry about with these groups, and this is a draconian law. Look, as far as environmental groups that are doing peaceful protest, engaged in lawful activities, absolutely. But don't think for a minute that there are not radicals out there. There's a new database on extremism in Canada, and it documents terrorist attacks either in Canada or perpetuated by Canadians outside of our borders. You know that there have been terrorist attacks, and essentially terrorist attacks, targeting Canada's oil and gas sector, our energy sector for years, whether we're talking about Lido van Ludwig or the bombings up towards Dawson's Creek, BC. But there's another group. This is a book that was out a couple of years ago. It's called Deep Green Resistance, and it was put together by Eric McBay, Lyra Keith, and Derek Jensen. Now, Eric McBay is actually a Canadian. When I interviewed him last, he was living just outside of Kingston, Ontario. He's one of the key authors in this book, and he talks about, and others talk about, the need for multi-tiered environmental groups. Above-ground groups, below-ground groups. The above-ground groups are the ones that you're going to see doing the peaceful protests. But the below-ground groups, the underground groups, those are the ones that are going to carry out things that the mainstream environmental movement must distance itself from. That includes violence, including assassination. Now, McBay and others deny that this is the case or that they advocate from it, but let me read to you from page 409 of the book. Uniquely valuable individuals make uniquely valuable targets for assassination by resistance groups. And they go on to talk about how to choose targets. How are they not advocating assassinating politicians or business leaders that get in the way of their goals? Page 422 of the book, it says, question, if we dismantle civilization, won't that kill millions of people in cities? What about them? Derek Jensen's answer, no matter what you do, your hands will be blood red. If you participate in the global economy, your hands are blood red because the global economy is murdering humans and non-humans the planet over. There are further examples in this book, Deep Green Resistance. It's a whole movement across North America. There are chapters found in cities across the country. So while I am concerned about legitimate protest being stifled by things like Bill C-51 or authorities overstepping the new powers that they get, we always have to worry about that. The fact is, there is a real threat. And you can't just say environmentalists care about the planet, ergo they're always good. Eric McBay, Derek Jensen, Lyra Keith, these are people that we need to worry about. Them and their followers and anyone involved in the deep green resistance movement. This is the underground current of the environmental movement. These are the people willing to go towards violent lengths in order to achieve the society that they want. A society without oil and gas exploration, a city without all of the modern conveniences that we take for granted. They don't see that as progress. They see that as an impediment to a return to a more indigenous way of life, or at least their view of what an indigenous way of life is. Am I saying they want us all to live in mud huts? It's not far off. You should read the book so that you are aware and so that you're warned.